today. It is still International Men's Day with a focus on men's mental health. Joining me now in the studio is parenting and fatherhood coach Akinropo Akinola. Thank you for joining me on this very auspicious occasion, and a happy birthday.
Thank you.
Well, it is nice to have you here in the studio, your first appearance here on The World Today.
Exactly.
So the theme for this year's International Men's Day is men's health. That's something that's hardly ever talked about. And I'm sure that you can testify to that. You're a man as well as a coach. What are some of those challenges regarding, men's health that we tend to overlook, especially when we talk about men's health, those things we like to gloss over? What are those things?
You see, the challenge, first off, let me just really appreciate you once again, the management of Channels TV, for having me here. So thank you. I do not take that opportunity for granted. So when we talk about men's health, over time, we've been advocating for this. Maybe we need to change the theme, men's health, mental health. This, you will agree with me that in this part of the world, when people hear the word, your mental status, the mental health, the way they defined it from their mindset is quite different from the promoter, what they intend to really achieve. So there was a place I went last year, we were talking about men's health. And I just said, maybe we can just change this to men's affairs. So when we get to men's affairs, so from there, we can now deep dive into going into what challenges that men go through. So when we're talking about men's health, one of the major challenges that has never allowed, men folks to gravitate towards that advocacy is the culture, right? So that culture is, we have been trained, right? Not to cry. We've been trained to man up. And I'm glad about, last week, the wife of the governor's initiative about the boy's child, right? So where they're still talking about that the emotions that we as men that we have is not the one that is devoid, or rather the masculinity defined us is not the one that is devoid of emotional expression. So I tell people that masculinity contains or consists of the muscles in us and the emotions. But right from childhood, we have been trained, we have been brainwashed, quote and unquote, right, to believe that men are not supposed to express emotions. Men are not supposed to cry. Only women cry, only girls cry. So when a guy or a boy, right from childhood, when they do anything to him and, feels embarrassed, any moment that he wants to cry, the next thing they shout the boy down. Why are you behaving like a girl?
Yeah, but what does that result to? When you're bottling up emotions as a boy, what sort of man do you become when you grow up?
The evidence is what we are seeing now. Give
us examples.
Yes, we have seen men who are not emotionally, excuse me, we've seen men who are emotionally brittle adults who don't know how to handle their homes. Emotionally brittle adults who checks out in the face of challenges in the home because they are not trained, they are not empowered with the right knowledge on how to handle the challenges with their home. So they just check out. I can't deal. Before you know it, everything has gone. That is when they are even being hard on themselves. At times when they are being weak, we see men who have taken their life. Yeah. So instead of telling men to man up, why can't we just, empower them with necessary tools on how to engage in effective communication with their partners or within the group that they belong?
What sort of tools are we talking about here? Because you actually do, touch on a very important subject, which is the issue of men's suicide. Men usually, you have more men who die by suicide. Yes, according to Heads Up, guys, it's one of the world's leading men's health resource. It says that 75 to 80% of deaths by suicide are committed by men.
So one of the tools is critical thinking, capacity. critical thinking capacity, involves you view everything that happens, the challenges that happen to you, from the perspective of what is it all about? Then what has it brought to teach me? What is it that I've done in time past that has brought these consequences upon me? So what is it that I can do better in order to forestall recurrence of this in my life?
That's taking accountability.
That's taking accountability. We are not trained to be accountable to whatever actions that we have taken. This is something I always tell people, that every action that we take today has a future consequence or consequences.
Yeah.
So people must bear that in mind. So anything that happens to me today didn't just happen, didn't just fall from heaven. They happened as a result of some decisions I took in time past. So men should be able to review their activities. Who were they? Who are they? Where are they coming from? Who do they want to become in the future? Then, if they are married, the wife, the children, what future do I hope for these children that I am raising? Especially, I am being emotional right now, right? I can even excuse you as a single man. If you want to live your life the way you want, no problem, right? But when you have children, then you have wife that are looking up onto you. You have no excuse to live your life the way you want to live it.
Yeah, but I feel like, some men would also say, some of these people in our lives are wives and our children. And even those around us should also, understand with us. I'm speaking for the men. Okay. They should understand with us, what we're going through, how hard it is being a man, and so on. What can these other support groups around them do to help men be who they're supposed to be?
Okay, I think it is not always the case. You can't just, or men can't just assume that my wife or the wife should understand, the children should understand, when you are not even emotionally expressive. You are not being effective in your style of communication. How would they know? So let me cite one example. Every child you see in the home believes that their fathers are doing well financially.
Yeah.
They wake up in the morning, they eat, they go to school, they come back, they watch TV, they have all the basic amenities to themselves. They don't know how this come by.
Superman,
Daddy is superhuman. So at a point, you need to open up to your children. I'm not even talking about you opening up to the wife now, because that one is almost impossible for some men. But when the challenges come, that is when the wife will now be asking, what is it? I don't know. I thought you had this. I thought you had this. And I'm speaking from experience. This is something that happened to me, right? If I'm permitted to mention the year 2008, 2009, I was doing a business and I ran into debt. And I was like, hiding it away from my wife, from the children, because I was raised to man up.
Yeah.
I was raised not to really divulge my vulnerability, to expose my vulnerability to my children and my wife, because if they know, they will take advantage of me, right? That was how I was raised. But when the bubble burst, when the challenges came, when the consequences appear, I wasn't only the victim of the consequences, everybody around me. So that was when I now opened up. And the questions then were, why didn't you tell me?
Yeah.
I thought. So I became a fool. I didn't know what to do again.
Okay. Akiropo, thank you so much for joining us on the program today. I know we have a lot to discuss. You sound like you need your own show. But thanks for coming on The World today.
Thank you for having me once again.